Today's Spotlight is brought to you in part by presenting sponsor, Busey Bank. Busey, your dream, our promise. Welcome back to Spotlight. I'm your host, Jane Wynette. I'm joined now by Dave Hildebrand and Tim Ogan to talk about the Naperville Crime Stoppers. So welcome to the set.
Thanks, Jane.
I'm going to start with you, Dave.
Sure.
Tell us a little bit about the Naperville Crime Stoppers. How did it get started? What's it all about?
Well, we're very fortunate. Naperville Crime Stoppers program has been in place for about 35 years now.
Okay.
And it was initially created back in the early 80s because we wanted to create a process and a means for people who had information for the police regarding crimes and criminals. We wanted to provide those people with an opportunity that they could make a report, provide information without supplying their name or any other information.
Okay, so really to encourage people to step forward and share that information.
Absolutely, to create that a bridge between the community and the police department to share information about crime and criminals.
Okay, and you have a hotline, right?
We do have a hotline, 630-420-6006,
okay,
that anyone can call to provide information. And what our organization always says is that we want your information, not your name.
Right. It's anonymous.
Correct.
It's anonymous. Now, I think a lot of people often wonder, well, why not just call the police department, Tim? So why would that be? Why would we just not let the police department kind of get on with it and investigate?
Well, a safer Naperville is everybody's business. We all live here, we work here, and it's everybody's role to keep this community safe, and we need help in doing that. And you know, if 160,000 people are out there helping us keep it safe, then that's all we need.
Okay, okay. And so tell us a little bit, Dave, when somebody calls the hotline, okay, what happens? How does that play out?
When someone would call the hotline, they can expect to speak with a person there who would be monitoring it. They would supply information regarding a crime, a criminal activity, a criminal, something which has occurred or is going to occur. One thing we do want to make sure is that it doesn't replace a 911 call. If there's an emergency, someone still needs to call 911 to get emergency assistance.
Absolutely.
When they do call, they can leave no name about it. They'll leave us with information. A member of the police department would scrutinize the information, screen it, clean it of any identification information, and then it would be assigned to a police investigator to then corroborate the information that's supplied, conduct an investigation, and then take the investigation wherever it might lead them.
Okay. And you've been very successful with this, I know. I mean, we've talked to you before, and you've been able, I know those tips have been able to help the police with their investigations, right? But, Tim, why would people not step forward?
Well, people are afraid of retaliation, or they're just concerned thinking, oh, I don't want to waste their time. And we try to tell them, listen, it'll take 5 minutes whether or not we determine this is a valid tip, or it'll take you a lifetime of regret if you don't call, and you should have. And so we really want people to call.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it, right? You know, I mean, it's not a lot of time. And I think so often we're in our neighborhoods, you see something, and sometimes your gut just says, oh, maybe this doesn't feel right? So I would pick up the phone, right? You're telling me that's what I should do.
In addition to that, we've also incentivized the opportunity for people to call us, and right now we can assign a stipend or a reward depending upon whether or not the information that they supply is successful.
Okay, so now explain to me though, I left my information and it's anonymous. The information was really good. The police department solved the crime. How do I receive that reward?
The members of the Crime Stoppers organization, which is a not-for-profit, all-volunteer organization, we meet on a monthly basis to assess and evaluate the outcome of the different tips that have been provided. As a result of that, we then assess, based on our own history and knowledge of how we've done business in the past, we then assign a stipend or a reward that we then provide to the caller by number only. We still don't know the name. We want information, not names, and then we make arrangements to pay the person a stipend or a reward for the information that they're supplied based upon the significance of the information.
Okay. And now what would be some of the kinds of tips you might get? Can you give the viewers a sense of, you know, as I say, if I have this kind of feeling or concern about it, what kinds of things might we be calling in about?
Routinely, we receive information on burglaries to vehicles, robberies, damage to property, narcotics, people who are selling, growing, manufacturing narcotics, selling drugs, committing burglaries, thefts of property, possessing stolen property, those types of things.
Okay, okay. And I'm assuming, Tim, you find that's helpful. I mean,
It's
right?
very helpful. Every bit of information helps nowadays. And as I said, sometimes people just don't feel comfortable calling 911 or coming to the front lobby. And this is just another avenue for them to get us that information and just let us run with it and see what we can develop out of it.
Okay. Now, obviously, that's kind of on, well, it could be on the front end in that you think something might go down, so you're sending me a tip, or it could be on the backside. But I know that one of the things that you've talked a little bit about with us, Dave, is that notion for Crime Stoppers to be very proactive and proactively supporting the police department. So maybe you guys would like to share a little bit of information about the latest stuff that you're working on with the Lock It and Lose It.
Well, I think traditionally a Crime Stoppers program has been somewhat reactive in terms of responding to tips that the process receives, and we respond to what we get. However, due to the leadership and some very good creative individuals, volunteers, we've now have taken our role to be a little bit more ambitious as far as being proactive.
Okay.
And it goes back to the old thought that an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure.
Sure.
What we're now doing is focusing a portion of our resources and our efforts in terms of preventing crime,
Okay.
preventing disorder, preventing victimization, and we're teaming up with our partner, the police department, and the various members there in terms of doing more to prevent disorder and crime from occurring, such as the Lock It or Lose It campaign, which Sergeant Ogan is a key part of that program.
Okay, so tell us a little bit on that.
Well, Lock It or Lose It we developed a couple of years ago. 90% of our vehicle break-ins are unlocked cars. Now, if I told you you can go to Vegas and I'll give you 90% odds that you can beat the house, why everyone would buy that
We'd be
book.
on a ticket right now.
Exactly.
Going right now.
And I'm trying to tell you, we can stop 90% of this crime by just locking our cars. An example of this, which was great with Crime Stoppers, is during the holiday season, we developed a card that we wanted to hand out at the stores throughout the Naperville area, just giving suggestions to people, hey, lock your cars, watch your purses, be on the lookout, report suspicious behavior. We need money to fund this project, and Crime Stoppers was very generous with us. We were able to generate 4,000 cards initially, and the Community Radio Watch group handed out those cards at Casey's Foods, at Mariano's, then Jewel at 75th and Naper. In 2 weekends, we handed out 4,000 cards.
That's fantastic.
We had such a great turnout with that we went back and asked for more cards. And for more community partnership, we talked to Katie Wood from the Downtown Business Alliance, and she and her group got those cards handed out to all the stores downtown. And then we went to Ray McGurry, and he put more of those cards at the Santa House down for the Park District. They were all gone. And we hope by spreading that message, we're encouraging people, please lock your cars, please watch your valuables. If you see something on there, please call the police department. And we can't get that without having support from groups like Crime Stoppers doing it. If it just gets one person to lock their car, that's one less crime we have to send officers to, and they can be better utilized in other areas. And if that officer is busy patrolling in another part of town as opposed to going somewhere that we could have prevented, then that's great for everybody. And once again, as I talked before, you asked before, why should people be calling? Just Crime Stoppers doing that. Look at the organizations we've got involved. Downtown Business Alliance, Park District, stores, everyone gets involved just because of their generosity. And that's what the whole message is about. And that's what, like I said before, a safer Naperville is about.
A safer Naperville. Yeah, I really like that. I mean, I think that's really, the ounce of prevention, being proactive, Crime Stopper on the front side, but also we have the opportunity to do some crime stopping on the back end, hopefully lead that and connect that partnership on the front end and on the back end. So I thank you for coming on. Lots of good information that you've shared. Remind everybody to lock their cars, right? That's
Please.
the most important thing. And if you see something,
Say something.
right. Terrific. Thank you. If you would like to find out more about the Naperville Crime Stoppers, please visit their website. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to have a few short messages, and then we're coming right back. So stay tuned.